Hi everyone, thanks for checking out another InfoSec Hub video. Today we're going to talk about secure coding. And before I start off this video, I'm not a software programmer. I'm not a programmer at all, but I know that during the development process, vulnerabilities can be introduced into the software code. Maybe because you write code that's not secure, or maybe you introduce software code that's used by a third party and that you haven't checked yourself and that's proven to be not secure. So we're going to talk about secure coding. There is a software product, and I'm not being sponsored in any way, but this is a very good example of what secure coding is and how it can help you. So you're programming and you need on the fly, real time, actually knowledge about code inspection, and introducing indeed vulnerabilities into your code. You want to make sure that on the fly, while you're developing, there is a tool like Sneak looking at your software code. So this is done by Sneak indeed, and it contains access to databases full of vulnerabilities, and they can either come from Red Hat or Ubuntu, Oracle, like the Python. This is Python, I think, yes, and Nugget. Okay, these are program languages and also databases that contain these vulnerabilities. This is great knowledge because it's being updated on a daily basis. Vulnerabilities can be introduced in code that's fresh off the production line, so to speak, or code that's already out there for years and years, and then finally somebody find something to kind of break the application, to break into it, to disrupt the servers, whatever it is a vulnerability. So you want to be able to know that before pushing into production, and the most optimal place where to know of vulnerabilities is during the development process itself. So Sneak can let you know that you're introducing a vulnerability, just like you see here. Tested 3 dependencies for known issues. So dependencies are always, when you do programming, you have something that's called object-oriented programming. Let's say, for instance, a login page. Many websites have a login page, so when somebody already wrote this code and published it on the internet, you can use it, and then you can still tweak it to let it work for your website. But if I have to compare it to a car, it's basically already a car that's there. The engine is working, the transmission is working, the wheels are in place, but you have to figure out, is it best suited for rear-wheel drive? You want front-wheel drive? You want 16-inch rims or you want 18-inch rims, what you're going to use this car for, but the car is there. So if you just want the functionality to go from A to B, then the software code, this login script is available for you. But if this code is used across half the internet, I'm just saying, half the internet using this code, then for a hacker, this piece of software code can potentially unlock like millions and millions of websites that are potentially vulnerable. You want to be able to know that this occurs. You want to be able to know that during development, and you want to know that afterwards. Sneak is for the development phase, and tools like, for instance, Detectify. Let me just show you if I can show you this one as well. Detectify. This is a vulnerability scanner. So when you push to production, then this one can you can set automated scans, for instance, and it will scan your backend. It will scan your website, your engine, whatever it's going to scan. You can fill in multiple URLs and or endpoints, whatever you want to call it, and it will scan for vulnerabilities that are old or that are fresh. So on a weekly basis, you'll be notified if your website has some vulnerabilities, and if it's code-based, network-based, database-based, you know, where is the vulnerability in what part of the application. So this is great, but this is actually when you're already pushed to production. That what I said earlier, when you have a code, when it's published and it's been around there for years, it doesn't mean that it's secure, because new vulnerabilities pop up every day and you want to be able to be notified of this. The open source community is great in sharing those kind of information, but there are also tools out there like this, which grabs information from all publicly available open source databases. Maybe you also have CVE database, common vulnerability and exploits, CVE databases out there with subscription. It's also possible, especially inside the corporate world, but also for a lot of software programmers, open source is like the to-go-to thing, because there's a whole community behind it that keeps updating each other on performance issues and how to get rid of those, how to write optimal code for certain programs, and also these vulnerabilities that are introduced into the code, and then finding solutions for that, because Snyk also gives you a solution how to work around it, making every application more secure. So that's basically, in short, again, I'm not a software programmer. I saw lines of code, and when you run it, when you execute it, then certain things happen. So to a very basic knowledge, I know what it is. I love writing blogs, and if I compare software code to writing normal language, you can also introduce spelling errors, basically. It's not the same, but on that level is how I think about this. So this is about open source vulnerabilities, and also during the development process, you want to be able to write secure code. You want to be able to write secure code because you don't want to introduce vulnerabilities into the application when pushing it to production. When you push to production, you want no vulnerabilities, not even low vulnerabilities, maybe when the application is out there already for a couple of years, then you might introduce vulnerabilities, because that's just the nature of the world and the computing world, IT. But when you push it to production, it should be flawless. And then after that, it should be monitored on a weekly basis, I would say. Run scans like Detectify against your application, various endpoints, and see how it's doing. So again, in a nutshell, that's what secure coding is about. I want to thank you for watching, and wish you guys a great weekend.